Hey, what's going on guys? Danny here, and in this video I'll be showing you guys Skyrim Special Edition and talking about its performance on my PC, which has some mid-level hardware. Bethesda decided to give us a remaster of what arguably was the best RPG from the last generation. Although many in the PC fanbase won't really call this a remaster, as there have been many showcases in the past where players have showed off Skyrim with ENBs and mods installed, which make the remaster version look very vanilla-like. Regardless, I decided I'd do a performance overview of the game since I know many of you guys might have been interested in it. So to give you guys a quick rundown on my system specs, I'm using an Intel Core i5-6600K that has been overclocked to 4.6 GHz and is paired with 16 GB of DDR4 memory clocked at 2800 MHz. For the graphics card, we've got an MSI Radeon R9 390 running at a graphics core clock of 1060 MHz and 1525 MHz through the memory. When it came to the settings, I decided I'd use the Ultra preset at 1080p with TAA, so pretty much everything maxed out here. When I dived into the game, I was greeted by a very wide variance in framerate, and it was very bothersome. The framerate was really all over the place. In some areas the framerate would drop into the mid-30s, then increase into the low 50s, and then at some parts it would jump into the low to mid-80s. So I found that this variation in framerate really ruined the experience. It wasn't consistent, and even with the FreeSync monitor I still couldn't stand it. When there is a variation in framerate, say from the mid-60s to the low 50s, or even the high 40s, that's tolerable. However, this wasn't. Now what's interesting to note here is that this only happens anywhere outside, but as we move inside, the frame rate stays at the FPS cap at 100, and it's actually very consistent, staying at this limit. No matter what was going on inside, if there were arrows and spells being thrown around with multiple NPCs charging at you, I was still at that 100 FPS cap. When I experienced this, I was immediately able to narrow down which graphics options were probably responsible for causing such a variance in frame rate, and also what was tanking the performance. Going back into the settings, I decided I would reduce the quality of the draw distance settings, and also reduce the anti-aliasing option from TAA to FXAA. The other thing that I did was set a frame rate target control to 60 in Crimson, as I've heard this game's engine isn't so friendly with the frame rates above 60. So with these settings applied and jumping back into the game, I noticed significantly better overall performance. I was now able to hit that 60 FPS mark pretty consistently, with the FPS dropping occasionally into the mid to high 40s, which isn't too bad, and this small variation in frame rate is completely tolerable in my opinion. Inside of Whiterun, I can maintain a solid 60 FPS, and running outside with mountains, trees, and grass in the distance, I can still maintain an average of 60 FPS. Now keep in mind we're still at 1080p, and I decided that I wouldn't even bother with 1440p at this point, if I already had to start making a few compromises before. Nonetheless, this game looks pretty good, and is completely acceptable at this resolution, which I'm sure most users will be opting to play at anyways. If Bethesda decides to release a few patches in the future, which improves the game's stability, optimization, and performance, then I'll definitely do a follow-up video. I never really got into the whole Skyrim modding scene, but perhaps with the special edition I may take a crack at it for myself. Well guys, this pretty much covers this performance overview of Skyrim Special Edition. If you guys like this video, then hit that like button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.